right. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakar Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch. I don't have anything planned for this lesson. I just pretty much press record, hit the button. All right, even when you don't have a particular subject matter that you want to go into, just trust in the spirit, trust in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and for sure, he will feed you, with something, all right, because we're living in the time of the end. We're living in the time of the end of Esau Edom's kingdom. We're living in a time where all things are about to be fulfilled in these last days, concerning biblical prophecy. All right. And, as the scriptures tell us, the testimony of Yahweh Shai, is a spirit of prophecy. So prophecy is very important. And that's why when you watch a Great Millstone video, when you watch, brothers, elders, apostles, bishops, so on and so forth, you always hear the reoccurring theme of prophecy at the forefront of what we teach, because that's essentially what it is all about. It's all about biblical prophecy. It's all about waiting for these prophecies to come to pass in their entirety. All right. And you're always going to hear us talk about the MOTB, Revelation 13 and 16. You're always going to hear us talk about Jacob's trouble. You're always going to hear us talk about World War III. And you're always going to hear us talk about the elect. All right. Because it's all about the elect. The whole nation is not getting saved on this side. Okay. So these are reoccurring themes and subject matter that you always hear from Great Millstone. All right. And these are the most important things. And above all, you always hear us exalt the names of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. All right. And if you are watching a particular group, congregation, so on and so forth, and you don't hear, these messages reoccurring, in their videos, that's a red flag. All right, straight up, that's a red flag, because it's the job of a prophet to constantly bring out these subject matters. Okay, now this is Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 8, and it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence." Okay. And in the NLT, it says, "The ancient prophets who preceded you and me spoke against many nations, always warning." Okay. And that's the key. Always warning. All right. That's the job of a prophet, of the hopeful elect of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, is to be in a state of always warning, our people of the coming destruction. Okay. So it says always warning of war, disaster, and disease. All right. We are always warning you of these things. All right. Because that's our job, again, as hopeful men of the elect. Okay. As prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, always warning you of the war, disaster, and disease. And who's bringing about, that war, disaster, and disease, and the chaos in general that's unraveling in these last days? The powers that we serve. Okay, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, is bringing this disaster, is bringing this chaos upon the earth. Okay, these are necessary evils that we must experience before the kingdom of heaven can be established upon the earth. Okay, so we're in the spirit of always warning. Okay, and that's what it means to prophesy. All right, to say before. We're telling you what's going to happen before it materializes upon the earth. Okay, Isaiah 55 and verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, and it shall not return unto me void. Okay? So anything that has been spoken of concerning prophecy, concerning the words of the Lord, is going to be fulfilled in these last days. It's not going to be cancelled. Okay? It's not going to be put on a back burner and delayed. No, the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai are going to be fulfilled in their entirety. Okay? As it tells us in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, these prophecies will surely come. And we're seeing, the beginning, all of these things, coming to pass. All right, we're seeing how they're promoting, the beast technology. We're seeing how people are losing jobs, due to AI. We're seeing how they're making everything digital. We're seeing how they're purposefully creating all of this chaos upon the earth to allow this fourth industrial revolution to take form. All right, this is all happening by design. All right, it's all engineered chaos, again, to bring about this NWO system. All right. And if you can't see that, then, you are essentially blinded, and you're not meant to see it until that judgment comes. All right. So again, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. All right. And you're seeing how we're in the midst of the effects of World War III. All right, this war with, Iran and Babylon the Great, which is America, and Israel, and I've seen how many other nations are going to be pulled into this. That's all biblical prophecy. All right, the scriptures say, "Let the weak say I am strong." So this is all part of the divine plan of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, that these things are happening right now upon the earth, and it's a great sign of the times that we're living in. The fact that you have constant war. The scriptures speak about wars and rumors of wars. That's happening. We're experiencing that, and that is biblical prophecy. Okay? But this is not just any war, all right? Because you have top nations that are involved. You have top nations that are going to be pulled into this. Okay? Because things are being stirred up, for Armageddon, all right? Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai's judgment, okay? And that's why the apostles always warned us to keep your eyes and your attention, upon the east, okay? Because that is going to be the catalyst for how this place is going to go out, all right? So you have to understand and know how to perceive, these signs and the times that we're living in right now upon the earth, man. You got wars and rumors of wars. You got riots. You got uproars of the people. You got all of these things happening simultaneously. Why? To bring about the end. All right? It's to bring about the end of Esau, Edom's kingdom. And it's as simple and as plain as that. All right? Now let's get, let me get 2nd Esdras. I believe this Bible app has, it has the Apocrypha here. It's a new app I downloaded. 2nd Esdras chapter 15. And, we'll start from the top. That's the 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 1. And it reads, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy." All right. So going back to my main point, if you're a prophet of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, your job is to speak in the ears of the people of the Lord, which is who? You Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, the words of prophecy. Okay? We're supposed to tell you of the great judgment before it manifests upon the earth so you can get yourself right. So again, when you notice that you have groups out there that are not harping on about prophecy and not putting prophecy at the forefront of their agenda, and especially above all the names of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, then that is a red flag. All right, that's a straight up red flag, and you should question what their intent is. Okay, so behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. All right, which I will put in thy mouth, save the Lord. Showing you how this is not any private interpretation. All right, it's the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that that puts within us, within our spirit, what we're going to say. All right, the Lord installs in our spirit what we're going to say at any given time. All right, so when you see us at the camp preaching and teaching, it's Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai that's supplying us through the spirit with what we ought to be saying at that particular time. That's why you might have a plan, outlined on paper. You might say, all right, I want to go into this scripture, I want to go into this, I want to go into this topic. That then all of a sudden, you start uttering the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, and it's not going according to what you planned, because it's the Lord that's in control. The Lord is going to have you utter what he wants you to utter in that very moment, man. Okay? So that's how you know that this thing is not of us. Like how I started this video, I didn't have a plan of what I wanted to go into, but I trust, in the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that things are just going to come to mind through the spirit. Okay? And it says, which I will put in thy mouth, save the Lord. So again, this is not of us, all right? This is of the spirit. This is of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, we're motivated through the spirit. We're divinely inspired, all right? And it says, verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Now it says, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee, which speak against thee, all right? And we're in a time where you have incredulity, all right? You have people that, when you go into this word incredulity, it goes into disbelief, all right? You have people that disbelieve a report. You have people that disbelieve the prophecies of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, all right? Because they haven't been rewarded or rather gifted, with faith, okay? And that's their problem. That's totally their problem, because we have the gift of faith and we believe that the prophecies that we're bringing out are going to materialize upon the earth in their entirety. We believe that, and that's through the gift of faith. So those, with incredulity dwelling within their spirit, they're about to be confounded, in these last days. All right, they're going to be put to shame for trusting in Esau, Edom, and his system. All right, the chariots of Egypt. The strength that they can see before their eyes now. All right. And as I always quote, that's why the scriptures say the people perish where there is no vision. All right. You're going to perish if you don't have the vision. You're going to perish if you can't see that these prophecies are going to be fulfilled in these last days. All right. So fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. All right, it doesn't trouble us. All right, your disbelief in what we believe and what we preach and teach does not trouble us in the slightest. Okay, because we're fully persuaded in our own mind. All right, let me get that right quick, because the scriptures speak about being fully persuaded. All right, because if you're not fully persuaded and established in what you believe in and what you're teaching, then you're going to fall out the truth. You're going to fall out the faith. All right. Now this is Romans chapter 14 and verse 5, and it says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. All right. And in the NLT, it says, in the same way, Some think one day is more holy than another day, while others think every day is alike. You should each be fully convinced that whichever day you choose is acceptable. All right. So being fully persuaded, all right, in your own mind, is very important concerning this truth. All right. You have to be fully firm in regards to what you believe in, what you teach. Okay. So you're not rocked concerning your faith, by incredulity. All right. And people that bring incredulity to the table. All right. Because you can clearly see that some men are just not fully persuaded in this truth. And that's why they ended up, questioning the doctrines, questioning, what they've been taught. All right. But the scriptures say to continue in the things that you've learned and being assured of who you've learned them from. Okay. So let's go back to 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them that trouble thee, that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. All right. So ultimately, all of the unfaithful, all of the faithless are going to die in their unfaithfulness. Okay. They're going to receive that judgment. And it's as simple as that. There's no in-betweens. That's what's going to happen. That's the judgment if you are unfaithful. Now, verse 5 says, behold, saith the Lord, I'll bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Again, there goes that judgment that's coming. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. And that's true. Wickedness has reached an all-time high, in this wicked kingdom that's ruled by the wicked. As pursuing to Job chapter 9 and verse 24, the scriptures say the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Okay? So wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And that's how you know the Lord is getting ready to destroy it. Because this is what happened in the time of the flood. Okay? Wickedness was so dominant, all right, and overwhelming upon the earth that the Lord is flooded. All right? He flooded the place. Okay? But this time, that flood is not coming by way of water. It's going to be a flood with fire. Okay? The second death. ICBM missiles are going to completely devour particular parts of the earth, mainly Babylon the Great, which is America. Okay? So this place is going out by fire. All right? Babylon the Great is going out by fire. Particular nations are going to be hit by that fire. Okay? That's how, the destruction is going to come. Now, the whole earth is not going to be done away with, like some people out here be teaching. Okay? But fire is a purification agent that's going to be used to get rid of the abundance of wickedness upon the earth. And you have a lot of wickedness concentrated in Babylon the Great. All right? And that's why the scriptures say, for her sins have reached up into heaven. All right? You've got a lot of wickedness that's spread throughout the four corners of the globe that's come out mainly out of the land of America and out of the mind of the Edomite man, beginning with their elites. Okay? Their mindset, their way of doing things has completely fucked up the whole earth and fucked up the minds of the people. Okay? So it says here, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cried unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. All right? And the souls of the just, hey, that's the men of the Lord, all right, that are crying out continually to Yahweh Shem Yahushai for deliverance. Okay? We're crying out to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right, because we're not down with this society. We're not down with this wicked kingdom. So we're crying out to the Lord to hasten his coming and to destroy this wicked kingdom. Okay, and I believe Revelation, the 6th chapter, also goes into that. How you got spirits that are crying out. Okay, the righteous spirits crying out, for the blood that's been spilled. Okay, there's going to be a righteous recompense, man. Okay, because hey, like it tells us in what's that, 1 Thessalonians 1:6, it is a righteous thing, to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. So revenge is righteous, man. This is going to be a righteous revenge upon our enemies when they're destroyed. Okay, it is absolutely righteous. Okay. So I'm gonna cut it off there. I gotta get ready and make it to the camp. The street ministry. For Wadi Yahweh Shim Yahweh Shai. For giving us another opportunity to make our calling and our election sure. All right. So until then, Lord willing, this brief lesson has been edifying. And until next time, I'll say shalom.